to my favorite chakra, and in my opinion, the most important chakra. That's the heart chakra. That's right here. This is a space in which truly I feel everyone would live a much blissful, peaceful experience, even through the challenges, if we can come to our heart and live through our heart space. So heart chakra. The heart chakra is associated with the color green. Sometimes, we think it's red or it's pink, and sometimes it is, associated with pink. And I create energy balls of love with Yeshua. Those are actually pink, even though it's coming from, his heart space, my heart space, which are green, but it comes out as pink balls. But the heart chakra is the color green. It is located in the center of the chest, and it influences our ability to give and receive love, as well as our sense of connection with others. Now, you do have a higher heart chakra, which we're not going to get into here, but I will later. And that is at your thymus gland, which obviously is the gland that is associated with it, but that's also where our God center is.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'll be doing another episode on that and how to activate your God center through your higher heart chakra. But yeah, so heart chakra. All right. I mean, who doesn't have a bajillion stories of blocks in heart chakras?
Right.
I mean, life, unfortunately, we're down here to experience, all emotions, and, pain and heartache is one of those experiences.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so cheers, Kyle.
I would say emotional abandonment is obviously a huge thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think a lot of people understand when someone's physically there, but emotionally gone.
Sure.
So I, again, say right back to my mom. There would be just so many little things that when you're in this cycle, right, of doing what you gotta do,
Yep,
and not understanding, jealousy came in hardcore for me.
Jealous of your mom or of...
Like there would be these little moments, and I don't know, I have such a resistance to anybody saying, oh, you're jealous or whatever, but it's a big one. It's a big one. The times I would go to my friend's house, and again, just right down the street, her mom would be making brownies and have cupcakes, and it would be in this little, little cute little holiday thing, and having a holiday napkin. All these little things of, we would have pizza rolls if it was after school or something,
and you did not have that.
Yeah, these little moments would hit me, and when you have this like non-understanding, right? It's like I got mad.
Yeah.
Didn't like fully express it, but these little moments of your heart just shattering over things that people got, like if it was, to a soccer practice or something.
Right.
It was you want your parents there.
For sure.
And I would find moments of, other people complain, or other kids, like talking regular smack about their parents or whatever. Yeah. I got mad. I didn't fully express it.
Lord. Okay.
Exactly. But it's like, how do you express something when someone's complaining is valid too?
Right.
Like their feelings are valid.
Totally.
And just because I don't have what they have, it's just this internal cycle. But these little things that people just don't think of, I mean, you think of it when you don't have it.
Yeah.
And that was a big one. And I felt heartbroken like all the time. And the times I finally got to this point, and as disgusting as it is, I wanted her presence so bad. If it was physical or emotional, just being there. As a child, again, having huge breathing issues, I finally got to the point where I would get sick quite often.
So you're manifesting it, essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
And that's the thing. We can manifest our own illness for whatever reasons. I mean, this is just a prime example, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I would end up, everything bothered me with my
Right.
lungs. If it was candles, the cleaners, dog hair, and I was in the midst of all of it. So I ended up, you know, going to the ER, urgent care, or whatever, doctors all the time. That's all I was doing. I would stop taking the steroids.
Okay.
My mom would be so diligent when I was sick. If just so I didn't forget, she'd write on pieces of paper, and I kept them all, just because that was the times that she was there.
Right.
But my brain just linked being sick to present love.
Yep.
And really, I really feel like that's how I even got up to the point of COPD. But when you look at this bigger picture of emotional abandonment, it's like talking to a brick wall.
Yeah.
You know? And
sure.
Growing up, you need all the things.
That's a whole other level of grief as well.
Exactly. And that's why I always thought it was so interesting now learning about all this, that grief is being held in the Lord.
Next week, actually, we are covering the topic of grief, so we'll get into more of that.
All I had was grief.
Right.
From everything. Grief of not having her present. Grief of wanting my mom to be happy. Grief that her child wasn't enough to be happy. Grief that I finally got to the point where, very weird, again, family dynamic, people would talk to my mom, of like family members close. If it was a grandma, cousin, aunt, they'd talk to them.
Right.
But I didn't exist.
Interesting.
All these little things and I would speak my mind to her, emotionally gone.
Right.
It was just a constant pattern and cycle of just chaos and heart holes everywhere.
But also, knowing, you and your background and everything, it sounds like too, like that was a generational thing that was like passed down.
Definitely.
And again, here you are being like, skirt, it stops here,
Right.
Because you've experienced that pain, that grief that was, unbearable, for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And thinking of it that way, I can't blame my mom for everything.
Right.
You can only blame for so much. But yet this stuff was passed down to her. How her mom treated, my aunt and my mom. That giving birth passed it down,
Yep.
Like it's this massive pain cycle.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I've really learned to work through that.
Right.
And to understand that this is all way bigger than what we truly even know.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, I think of a really cool thing of actually healing this area if you have breathing issues, and to learn about the grief behind it, like removing that stagnant energy from there.
Absolutely.
And acknowledging all those emotions, whether you think it's ridiculous or not.
Yeah.
All the little ones. I used to be able not to walk from here to there without needing an inhaler.
Right.
Now I go.
Now you can run
weeks
the
on
rules.
end.
Yes.
Hike up a mountain.
Yep.
Without even taking it one time.
Yep.
Isn't that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive. I mean, even from when I met you to now is absolutely magnificent, especially, being a nurse, but also a healer and, all the things and just the transformation. I mean, the ability that we have to heal ourselves is magnificent.
It is.
But we don't know until we know, like, how to tap into these and how to identify these and what emotions are where, and so it's, that's part of, why we're doing this podcast too, is to help, teach people how to heal themselves. When, I'm working with a client, like, I don't want a lifelong client. I want to teach you how to do it yourself. And then you go heal yourself.
Right.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, I've had clients that are like, I actually don't want to do the work. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean,
who does?
Right. So, I mean, I get it, but then you're going to keep coming back. And it's literally a waste of time. Literally. For you, for me, you know what I mean? I could be working on somebody who actually wants to do the work and heal themselves, but,
Yeah.
That's another topic. Another topic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just think it's truly magnificent.
It is. It is. I mean, yeah.
I mean, there's no explanation.
I mean, the fact that we can walk, that we can run together, literally run. Yes, we run on occasion, not far, but we run, girl. Let me tell you, we get in there.
Right.
No, really. So, yeah.
People really need to look at it. Like going from COPD infusions all the time. I was trying to pick out a cute backpack for an oxygen tank, literally.
Right.
To carry,
in our 20s, by the way.
To carry with me.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
I take a preventive. But that I have...
But you had two, now you're down to one.
Right. And I halved that dose. So
and
slowly...
you do, no neb treatments. You've done, maybe...
Right.
A couple since I've known you. That's it,
It's amazing.
It's just... Yeah, no, it really is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get off my soapbox how amazing it is.
But we'll kind of get into that more with the next episode, too, being grief. Because, she's... I think we need to make her the star on that one because she's got a lives of it. We'll get into that too, past lives and stuff. But yeah,
tell me yours.
All right. Well,
what you got?
First of all, I was born with a hole in my heart. So if that's not a heart chakra block, I'm not quite sure what is. But that wasn't discovered until I was 27. I went to cardiologist, very young. My body naturally makes too much of the bad cholesterol and not enough of the good cholesterol. So even as a child, I was going to cardiologist because my cholesterol levels were elevated. So it was never picked up at all until I had my strokes. And a rheumatologist is actually who picked up the murmur in my heart. And come to find out, it was PFO, had to have that repaired, all that jazz. But also the energetic, imprint of having something placed into your organ that, I had no idea at that time. The impact of that, of course I would probably still do it because, because that could have taken me out. But anywho, as far as emotional stuff and, life experiences, I would say probably, I would say my biggest block probably started when I was a year and a half old, and that would be abandonment. That is when my father left, he was never part of my life, still is not. We talk, once, maybe twice a year, but there were years I didn't, stretches of years where I didn't talk to him. One time I remember I was probably around that, 10 to 12 age or so. And he said he was going to come and visit and take me to an amusement park. And I sat in the driveway and I waited. And I was so excited. And I waited. And I waited. And he did not come. And I knew he had lived, 3 hours away. So it wasn't like he was right down the street or anything. And he never came. And so, why would you tell your child that you're coming and literally just no show? Maybe a freaking phone call? You know what I mean? He's struggled his whole life with, alcoholism and addiction. And so I definitely understand and forgive him now. And I'm really curious as to who just put their hand on my right shoulder. It's probably Macho. But anyways, truly. But, so that started, and then my stepdad, the one who raised me. But going back to my dad, though, also when I had my strokes, of course my mom, called him, was like, hey, this is what's going on. He came to the hospital, drove 3 hours, and says, I'm not leaving until she leaves. Y'all, that homeboy wasn't there for 24 hours, never came back. But hey, at least he came, and that really,
funny.
no, really, it meant the world to me, but he probably decided to come because it was high. He was like, yeah, let's go. I mean, I don't actually know. I wasn't there. I'd have to talk to my stepmom, who's absolutely amazing, and I love her so much. Anyway, yeah, so, but then when my mom and my stepdad, when they raised me, when they separated, so they separated, I was 15, going into 16, so I actually bought my first car from him because he was a car salesman. Yeah, so when they separated and they divorced, I lost an entire family. The entire family that I was raised with. Brothers, sisters, aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews and everything. I lost them all in one foul swoop. So I mean, obviously, I have my mom's family, which is amazing, and my mom is one of my best friends, like all the things. But I still lost an entire family.
Right.
And like, how do you, I get it. So the mom and the dad don't want to, they don't want to jive anymore. That's cool, whatever. But
the kids.
Am I just chopped liver? I'm just not worth anybody ever thinking of me again. What was that whole experience about? My whole life. So for me, that was my whole life. That was my whole life. So,
did they ever reach out? Did you try to reach out to them?
Well, I mean, yeah, because I want to say it was probably within a year or so. I remember because, driving to high school, I passed by one of my brother's house. Well, I guess ex-brothers, you know what I mean? That stepdad and my mom would talk occasionally after they got divorced, and I had dinner with him, lunch with him, a couple of times after they got divorced. As far as everyone else goes, no. Of course now, friends on Facebook with a couple of them, but
so you experienced physical abandonment and emotional abandonment.
Totally.
Multiple people.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's been patterns in my life, So
it's not a great pattern.
No, not at all, not at all. And that's why it is so important to recognize these patterns and make the conscious choice to make anything. I mean, the only thing we have control over is how we respond or react to the things that happen to our life, in our life, whether it be people, situations, whatever. That's all we have control over. So at this point, all I can control is myself, and using more discernment on the decisions I make for the people and situations that I choose to be involved with. I'm very much, still mastering discernment. A lot of that is because I love everyone and I see the good in everyone, but I need to see and meet people where they are, and not see what they can be and expect that of them. And that's been a fault of mine in this lifetime as well. Honoring that, and I would say my last partner too. I think that was probably the biggest thing. Was I'm sorry for expecting you to be who I know you can be,
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the pressure that I put on them that was not fair. That was not fair, Nor was it fair for me to stay expecting them to rise to what I saw they could be,
Right.
So, and it wasn't until the end of that situation that I was like, I didn't meet them where they were. Oh, that's on me. Ew. Oh, oops. Okay, so but now that I know better, I will do better, And sometimes it's not until we know better that we can do better,
Exactly.
So, showing ourselves, grace and forgiveness and compassion for hey, I didn't know better, but now I do. So I will make better choices. And sometimes we slip and we know better, we do it anyway. Okay, well, let's not do it again, but it's, we are human. We're growing, we're learning. It's a big deal to be down here, in the worlds that we exist in too, it truly is a blessing and a gift to be here. And so we should treat it that way. And treat ourselves that way. And treat each other that way,
Exactly.
I feel like, in society, in school, in church, and, at work, somebody makes a mistake. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. Whoa. It's no, it's okay. We make mistakes. How else do we grow? How else do we learn? By making mistakes or making a decision knowing it's the right decision and the outcome is not favorable. And then you're hard on yourself and you hate yourself and you're mad at yourself. Right. And everybody around you's mad at you. Why did you make that choice? Why did you do that? You know, it's like, I didn't know that it was going to be like that. Mm-hmm. But now that I know, next time I'm going to do better. So if we can just like love each other through that. Right. And just hold space that, like, no one is perfect, you know? Mm-hmm. We all have that divine spark. We all have that you know, that God center within us. But we are not the creator. We are not perfect. Nor are we supposed to be. Right. Nor should we expect that from others, you know?
There's so many things that go into it. I mean, emotional intelligence is a real thing. IQ is a real thing.
Yes.
And you can't down someone for not having the consciousness that you have. If someone is less, we can get pissed off at something, and they could just have less consciousness. That is it. They haven't evolved to that.
And that is not anybody's fault, because everyone is on a different path.
Right, and who gives anybody the right? We're not.
Exactly.
We're not God in that aspect.
Correct. We're not. Yep.
You're judging someone for their mistakes, yet think of your last big mistake.
Right.
And you want to judge that person?
Right.
Like, get off the road with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, you know, it's easy to, you know, find ourselves in that space of judging others, but it's how quickly can we flip it back onto us. But like, actually, I did that like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, yep, let me go ahead and not judge that person, you know? Like, yeah.
So many things that play into it.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
You know, to the next.
Yeah.
Throat chakra. Right. So is to speak. Our fifth chakra is the throat, associated with the color blue, located in the center of our neck, associated with the thyroid and parathyroid glands.
Good job.
Thanks. Associated with communication, self-expression, and truth. It governs our ability to speak our truth and express ourselves authentically.
Good job. Speaking of speaking.
Exactly.
Where's that book kind of they gave you to hold on to?
I can't find it now. Oh, first.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, what you got? Well, I mean, I can only imagine your throat chakra story to share, because just knowing you, there's a lifetime of that as well. It like goes along with your. It's amazing that you can and you do on a daily basis.
Thanks. The biggest one that has come up in so many different ways and forms, and I'm sure you've witnessed, is my fear of taking up too much space.
Big time, yeah.
The lack of worth that I had. I didn't even want others to hear me speak because I wasn't worthy of to show my voice to say. It was like that, that low. And a lot of the times when I would be upset or anything, my voice doesn't help. Like, it's different. It's different.
It's soothing. It's calming. It's peaceful.
Well, thank you, but not.
But I can imagine as a child, children can sometimes be cruel.
Definitely. Yeah.
Especially when you have parents who don't work on their crap and they, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
And I would get made fun of if I got, you know, pissed off and I actually like stuck up for myself. It would just be mocked back. In my voice and people's interpretations of my voice. It destroyed me on all.
I can imagine.
Forms, all levels.
Yeah.
And no one took me seriously. I mean, how could you if, you know, Mickey Mouse is getting mad? I had the nickname of, even in soccer, you don't talk in soccer. They call me Mighty Mouse. Because at least I could, like, kick. But, you know, every form of life I had, it was this same thing. I had a period of time, I became a mute in school.
Well, how old were you when you decided that was the best option for you?
Probably 10.
Okay. How long did it last?
I went in bouts of it.
Okay.
Like a few years.
Okay. So were you talking when you were at home or just not at school, or were you like completely 100% mute for extended periods of time?
At school, I was a mute, 100%.
Okay.
Some people, like the friends I had, I would be able to feel safe to talk.
Can we just acknowledge the fact that she's doing this podcast right here, right now, and sharing her voice with, ideally millions of people all over the world. Yeah.
Right. Such a huge thing.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
This whole experience is healing, not only for us, but hopefully for everybody. But it's powerful.
It's something different for sure. But I didn't want to bother people by having me talk to them.
No.
In my older teenage years, when I got like word vomit or said things not right, I would hear it for weeks.
Really?
Yes. So now that I don't know, I developed this like master way to talk.
Okay.
In a very weird way, like I was super good at words, grammar, spelling bee.
Well, yeah, because all you did was read your whole life because you didn't have humans to interact with.
Right. But, as of lately, my grammar and words, it's like, I don't know what has happened. I don't know if I'm just reversing to heal something. I have no idea.
Well, I think what a lot of it has to do with is literally last year. Losing your mom, going through divorce, and then the situation that we're not speaking of at this time.
Right.
But it was like that level of trauma, that much trauma in that period of time.
It does something.
It does. It's coming back, I promise.
Yeah.
We're getting it back, girl. Come on, don't worry about it. We got this.
But this also a different pattern, which I've kind of spoke on a little bit, is that I would hear all the things, right? But I couldn't say them. So let's say if someone hurt my mom, and my mom had no boundaries, so they would come over and she would be helping them. You think I can just say something when all of my inner rage and just holding it.
Right.
It was a massive amount. With it was just so many family members that,
I'm sure.
are supposed to be family.
Right.
Towards a hurting woman. I know the things.
Right.
I know what's happening.
Yeah.
And I can't get it out. It escalated fast.
I can't imagine how frustrating that was.
It was something special, for sure. But I think it was a couple of years ago, and just being, I was in the same type of relationship where I was with an angry soul, and kind of reminded me of my mom, I guess. Same dynamic, but kept quiet. My vocal cords just gave out.
For someone who has barely spoken their whole life, how did your vocal cords, any calls?
No, they could not find anything. There was
weird.
About half of them that, I went to all the doctors. I don't even know what procedure that is, where it goes up your nose and into your throat. Could not figure it out. It completely cut out, and I feel like that's probably the most relaxed part.
It's like, well, I can't talk, so now I don't have to. I bet it was like...
Yeah, a little bit. I had moments of it, but also it got even worse because it's like I wanted to say the things now, because when it's gone, you want it, and it's just this twist. And this is a very crazy situation to be in, to not being able to do that.
Right.
But I could never speak my truth.
In the past.
Thank you. And that's probably has been the continuous block. Yeah. Until now. Yeah. This has been a healing thing. Yeah. Not a lot of family that I don't consider family. if they were to ever hear this, I mean, this is the truth, and it's very crazy.
Right.
It's insane. Everybody kept quiet and life's due. I ain't like that anymore.
Right.
Good
for you.
Want to do what's right and how to do it, and I don't care if I sound annoying, and I don't care if I sound like Mickey Mouse with a microphone.
But here's the thing, is we cannot control how others perceive us. I do not think you sound that way, and since I've known you, you've gotten nothing but compliments about your voice. So it was like a lifetime of people talking crap, and then we shift. It's literally like law of one, like the polarity. We experience the different polarities in life. So you've experienced that polarity. Sorry, just whacked the dog in the head. So you've experienced that polarity, so now you get to experience the positive polarity, and hold on to that, because it is soothing and it's peaceful. And I'm constantly telling her, like, take up space, and she's, I'm sorry, no, and no, take up space, homie, let's do this. Be loud, stretch out, make your presence known, I mean, you are the embodiment of love. Show that off,
Work in progress.
Yes, you are. But aren't we all? And you're doing a heck of a job. Oh, sweet pea.
Thank you.
I'm glad you talk now, because you have a lot of cool things to say.
Thank you.
Totally.
But thank you for giving me the space to do so.
Absolutely. It's I haven't always felt comfortable with that either, so I get it.
That's why I was just even a thing about space is that when I first came to when we started working together,
right.
I'm like, this girl, she be spreading out all her things across like the nursing station.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What in the world? Like, why do you think you can do this?
Because night shift, there's no Jayco, and I got my snacks, homie. I got my drinks. I got my coconut water. I got my water. I got my.
Got tuna and forks with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, now I get
it's healing, man.
I know, but
I gotta heal my colleagues too, because I don't need all that crap energy. I gotta fix them all up, because I don't want to absorb it all or take it home or be around it, really. So yeah.
Right.
Oh, I take up space now.
Oh,
I'm not ashamed, and
I always admired.
I'm apologetic about it.
I admired you for it. At first, I, of course, didn't understand, but I just thought, like, wow, this is kind of cute, but like, I don't get it.
Right, but, totally.
Yeah. Anywho, that's pretty much the gist with my throat.
We have an intruder. So this is Odie, aka Schmack. So I guess he's gonna chill right here for a little bit.
You want me to?
He's supposed to sit here with us. That's cool. So yeah, here we are. So for me. I'm gonna say, my throat chakra. Sorry for the mic, y'all. Bumpy. My throat chakra. Well, so I was born with a speech impediment. I have a stutter, in case you haven't figured that out yet, which I'm sure you have. Anyways, so my father has a stutter. One of my half brothers has a stutter, and I got the stutter. So that, and then also. I had to go to speech therapy not only for my stutter when I was, growing up, but also for my S's and R's. So it'd be like, Wayne and Twampween, and that's So speech therapy all growing up, and so my stutter was a lot worse growing up. When I get stressed or when I'm nervous, episode 1, it was real bad. Anyways, it certainly amps up, so.
Did anybody else in your family have stutter? Or except your dad?
Where did you just go?
Exactly. I was thinking of your mom's side, truly.
Well, right, yeah, because
I'm like, because your mom doesn't talk that way.
Well, exactly. It definitely came from my father's side, and again, not being associated with that side of the family, I was the only one, growing up that had this, had the stutter. So but So not only that, but then when I had my strokes at 27 years old, I had to learn how to walk and talk, but I had to learn how to talk again. I was completely, completely flaccid, and I could not speak.
Wow.
So it was a slow process again, right back in speech therapy, learning how to talk like a toddler again, I remember, the first two words, like one was strawberry and the other one was November. So my strokes happened in November, so like trying to get those words out. And actually, while I was in my like 3-day process of stroking out, they asked me what my name was, and I said Tamara. It's my mom's name.
Wow.
So it's like
Wow.
I didn't even know my own name, and I know my mom was like, panicking, like, does she think she's me? Does she think that's her name? Like, oh my gosh, she doesn't even know her name. So like it was, so then learning how to talk again, that was so frustrating. It was so frustrating, and I started, like I would get, frustrated trying to say words, so I would just started like grunting, and instead of saying the word, I get frustrated, and then I would just stop. So that was a whole experience of, in school, especially like, middle school, really, when you have to read out loud in front of class, and it's like everyone has to do it. There's no getting around it. And so that was a very stressful, agonizingly painful experience, because I know that everyone else is like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And I am like, beet red, and I'm nervous, and I'm stuttering even worse. And then finally, my English teacher in 6th grade, I think it was 6th grade, anyways, she pulled me aside. I was like, hey, so I've read this study that if you whisper, you don't stutter. So then I started whispering instead of talking out loud, because that's when I didn't stutter. So then it was whenever I had to read out loud, I was allowed to whisper, not to make it hear me, but I had to participate in all the things, right? So that's that was one big one with throat chakra.
Wow. What a humbling experience.
Yeah. But then too, like the whole feeling like no one ever hears me. Mm-hmm. I'm constantly misunderstood. And I think a lot of that, it's just who I am. I think a lot of that has to do with the Heyoka, aspects of who I am and my being. Yeah. So I'm constantly, we've talking about this, do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? After everything I say, do you know what I mean? And it's like, I've had people be like, yes, I know what you mean. I'm like, okay, got it. So I'm actively working on, breaking through that. But that's, when we don't feel heard, we always need that validation. Did you hear me? Were you listening?
That's...
you know what I mean? Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can only imagine, though, having especially as trying to figure out the alphabet and words again.
Oh, dude, it was wild. It was wild.
Yeah, very scary.
Yeah, like my mom went, when I was still in the hospital, for 17 days, and she went and bought like the foam letters that, kids use, and, babies use in the bathtub, just to play with. And she brought those, and, for me to, try to spell my name, learning how to spell my name again, but then also, just doing the ABCs. And I think I got to, I don't know, D maybe, and then I'm like, yeah, I got nothing. I don't know what's next, Yeah, it was wild. It was a wild experience, let me tell you. 10 out of 10 do not recommend. I do not. But again, it catapulted my growth. It put me on my path. It was my shaman's illness. I survived. I made it, and I am so grateful. I am so, so grateful, because now I have purpose, and I'm grateful for existence, and I can't wait for the future. All things that I did not have then, So, # worth it. Yeah, totally.
It's remarkable.
It's pretty cool, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I really hope you feel honored.
I do. I truly do.
That
you
went through that.
Yeah, I do.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And what a crazy experience to go through with your mom, too.
Well, yeah, she raised me twice. And the second time turned into addiction. So then she had to handle that aspect of me, that version of me that was, not even close to my highest self, definitely my lowest self, Yeah.
But now she gets to you now, so
Now
that's
she
pretty cool.
gets, yeah, I agree. I hope you agree too, Ma.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay.